Y'all, I cannot believe my friend just gave this to me, and I can't wait to show you. So one thing that's cool when you have a repair shop like this is you get to meet a lot of cool people. And I got a friend named Dwight. And Dwight is a bicycle enthusiast. And he pulled out this bicycle that has been sitting around his house for years, that he has had for 40 years, that he modified to be a gas-powered bicycle, and he gave it to me. So Dwight said it's been sitting around for years. He doesn't have any use for it. He has tons of other bikes. He barely rode this one after he had it modified because he said once he got this done, a newer model came out and he bought that. But this thing is an Italian Beyonce. I don't think I'm saying that right. So I'm sort of excited. I'm ready to dig into it and see if we can get her to run. Now, even though the bicycle is 40 years old and very well taken care of, these Chinese engine kits are not that old. I did not get the year of when he had this put on, so I'm not sure about that. But the first thing we're gonna wanna do is just see what kind of state it's in. He said that he did not leave any fuel in it, so that's a good thing. Let's check the gas tank, because if this gas tank's rusty, that's not gonna be good. All right. Ooh. That is promising. Look at how shiny that gas cap is. It looks almost brand new. Let's look inside. Y'all, I know y'all can't see it well, but it looks brand new inside. Sweet. Y'all, I don't think I can help myself. As good as this thing looks, I'm gonna throw some fuel in it and see if she just starts up. So I got some gas in her and I'm just waiting for a second. I wanna make sure that she's not gonna just start flooding out. Checking this air filter cover, making sure I don't smell nothing weird. So far, she looks good. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I've never rode one of these before, but for what he says, it's pretty simple. You get on it, you start rolling a little bit, you have the clutch engaged. As soon as you let go of the clutch, it pops everything off and it starts running. He says it can go up to 35 miles per hour. All right, y'all, do not make fun of me. I have not been on a bicycle in 20 something years. We'll see what happens. Ooh, brake. Okay. There we go. Clutch. Let go brake. Go. Gosh, that is so fun. Well, that was fun. I 100% did not think that thing was going to run, and I don't think Dwight thought it was going to either. He said it had been sitting for years, so we both assumed that it needed carburetor work, but that just shows the power of when you use a good fuel with a good fuel stabilizer, that still, even if there is remnants left in your tank and carburetor after you drain everything out, it's going to run after you store it for a long time. But now I don't have a video idea. I was totally going to tear into that, clean the carburetor and get it running, but since it runs great, I got something else I'm going to do. Now, when Dwight dropped these off, he also dropped off a trimmer and a pole saw. Both of them are Stihls and both of them are really good models. The fact though is, he said that he left them at a shop for the last 2 years, that they were supposedly going to fix them at another town that he lives in, and they look super scary. Now, when Dwight stopped by today, he was giving me that bike, which is super cool, but he also needed a couple things fixed. A couple Stihl units. He has a trimmer and a pole saw that both have been sitting definitely for years. Once you see these, you're going to know they need a lot of repair. But he said that he had left them at a shop. They were supposed to repair them in another town that he has a house in, and they just never did anything. So they sat there for 2 years. So he brought them in. They look super scary. and I think I'm going to go ahead and fix these for free for Dwight. Let me show you what they look like. Number one, we have a fixed pole saw Stihl. This is the FS80R, one of the best trimmers ever made. They put this power head on these pole saws and on trimmer units, and these things lasted forever. So we're definitely going to try to get it running. The piston and cylinder, it was made out of some ultra mega awesome metal because they just never worn out. So it has been sitting so long that the primer bulb's completely cracked. Everything looks pretty gross. We're going to dig in first, look at the piston and cylinder, make sure it's worth it, but I bet it is. He also brought in this Stihl FS45 curved shaft trimmer. Yeah, you can tell this thing's been sitting around for a minute because Dwight takes care of his stuff so well that this all happened at the shop that it was sitting at. I looked inside through the intake hole, and the piston looks beautiful from this side, so hopefully everything pans out and we'll get these things running. Let me see if I can get you in here to see the inside. That piston still looks beautiful. And if we bring the piston out of the way, look at the back end there. It looks great. Now, I would have checked for compression, but when a piston and cylinder still look that good, 95% of the time, you still have compression. Now the cylinder looks good, but let's check for fire. Well, I don't see nothing. Maybe put it somewhere else. Right to the block. No fire. Now there's three things that go wrong whenever it doesn't have fire. It could definitely be the switch, it could be the kill wires, or it could be the coil itself. Now if this has been worked on before, notoriously these kill wires are not easy to get back into their little grooves. So a lot of times people smush them, they might break them, and then that could definitely cause it to have no fire. So let's pop it open and see what it is. All right, take this top handle off. You have 2 screws right here, boom, boom, 2 screws here, boom, boom, a screw here, and a hidden screw down in here. Now this screw probably won't fall out. Usually the throttle cable keeps it in there. And then we can remove that. We're gonna go ahead and take the kill wire off and check for fire again and see if that makes a difference. All right, hopefully y'all can see this. We still have 0 fire. So this is probably why the last shop didn't fix it. A new coil is $60. You do not want to buy a $20 Amazon coil. They either do not work right out of the box or they will not work for very long. So I'm sure that was the last shop's assumption, $60 coil. I don't know if it needed the carburetor at the time or not, but $35 carburetor, you're looking at, you know, with labor, $140, $150 on a $179 trimmer. Not going to happen. Now that's real world shop. That's not me when I'm helping out my friends who just gave me an awesome bike. So I got 2 options here. I can see if this coil just happens to not be making good contact. I will check that first. If it still is not going to work, I'm going to find a used coil. And we do have a little bit of rust. Now just to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and sand it everywhere that it connects and just make sure that's not the issue. Yep, no fire. All right, so back upstairs to the parts room. Do you think I got one? I do not have one in the parts room, which means I gotta go out to my junk pile. All right, it is a new day. I didn't want to come out here and dig in the dark because we do have snakes like cottonmouths and who knows what, but here's my huge pile of 2-strokes. Let's dig in and see what I got. Well, thankfully, I don't have to dig too far. I got one sitting right here that'll work. And you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and let him have this top cover too, because his is very scary. And it's dark up here in the parts room. I do keep these carburetors in bulk. I'm going to use 2 of them. So just leave one behind and make sure to order some more, because I go through a ton of these. It's just not even worth it if you're going to need any kind of carburetor work on these. And this carburetor fits on a ton of stuff, from the FS80 to 85 to the 55 to 45. I mean, all of them. Now, even though I took this one off at FS38, the FS38, the 45, the 55, a bunch of the parts interchanged, so it's totally gonna work. All right, let's check for fire. Oh, we got tons of fire. Yeah. All right, crisis diverted. I am going to go ahead and change out his air filter base. I just noticed that his choke lever is broken too, so I got a good one on that one. So air filter base, new prettier shroud, throw it back together. I have one more thing to check before we throw some gas in her and fire her up, but I think she's gonna run. All right, now that I got her all put back together, there is one more thing I want to check on these Stihl trimmers. And if you've watched my videos, you know what it is. We all know these exhausts are terrible about clogging up, but this one even has a mud dauber in it. You know, I don't know what you call it, dirt dauber, mud dauber. It's a wasp that makes their little mud nest. So let's clean that out. Now, to remove the exhaust screen, you're going to use a 15mm socket. Oh yeah, that thing is clogged to the max. It would have never run like that. Now, if you live somewhere like in California where they're going to want you to definitely have an exhaust screen in your unit, the part number is a 4140-140-6900. You can burn it and clean it out if you want to. But as you see in my comment section, a lot of people say they just like to get rid of it. And they'll take the screen part off. Let's make sure it's all cleaned out there. And screw it back in. Y'all ready to see if she's gonna run? She's turned on. Prime up this new carburetor. See how she blows. Popped off. She runs like a brand new trimmer. Next. Y'all ready for this oldie but goodie? The FS80R. Now, they put this on a pole saw, but you might also have one on a trimmer. They put the same power head on the trimmers that they did the pole saws. And I'm telling you guys, this was one of the best power head engines ever made. They lasted forever. Now, this thing's probably 30 years old. Let's dig into it and see what she looks like. Now, first off, we're going to pull the plug, look inside this cylinder. Let's just hope she looks pretty. Take a little peek here. Oh guys. Oh, she's beautiful. Oh yeah. She's gonna run. I'm just saying, she's gonna run no matter what. Let's check some compression just cause. We got 110 pounds on 3 pulls. That's good. That's definitely potential. We're going for 110 pounds. Now 120 is perfect, but it's 30 years old. Okay. Next, let's check for fire. Oh yeah. We got fire, boys. So I'm sort of excited. I think this is totally going to run. We're going to tear into it a little bit more. We got a beautiful piston and cylinder. We've got compression. We've got spark. So I know it's going to need a fuel filter, fuel lines, tank grommets. I'm going to go ahead and throw him on a new carburetor. We're going to check the exhaust to make sure it's not clogged up. We're going to probably need an air filter and a spark plug. And I think it's going to run. Ooh, it's a little scary. Nothing inside the tank. That's good. Ooh, that smell. Ooh, that smell. Now, while I'm taking this apart, I did want to stop and let y'all know I will be in Louisville, Kentucky, October 17th, which is a Thursday for the GIE. Well, I don't even think they call it GIE Expo anymore. They just call it the Expo. The largest outdoor power equipment expo in the world. We went last year and it was amazing. Very impressive. I mean, anything you can think of, any kind of brand, any kind of product, they had displays there. It was truly awesome. I got to set up at the Husqvarna booth last year and meet a ton of you and get pictures with all y'all. That was awesome. This year, I'm just going to be roaming around. I don't know what I'm doing just yet, but I do know I'm going to be there all day on Thursday. So if you're in Louisville, Kentucky, October 17th for the expo, come say hi. We're going to toss this old carburetor. The new one's going to work just fine. And we're going to get rid of these tank grommets. These fuel lines are hard as a rock. And put a new fuel filter in. And I'm going to glove up because that is a stank you cannot wash off coming out of that tank. So we know this is all trash, so I'm not going to be gentle with it. I'm just going to go to pulling. Take the throttle cable off. It's stuck like Chuck. Ew, gross. Take a look inside here. Oh, y'all got to see this. Y'all, that is perfection. That piston is perfection. It looks brand new. Yeah. Look at these little fuel line and grommet kits from Rotary. They work great. Been using them for years. You're going to want to take the grommets off the fuel lines because they're much easier to get in that way. Just pop them in. Oop, if I got some thumb strength anymore. Just like that. And the line that is closest to it, you're going to want that short one going to the bottom nipple of your carburetor because you're going to want your fuel filter to be laying as far over to the side of the tank as possible in case, you turn it to its side. You want that fuel filter and the fuel. So this one is going to go to the fuel filter. Take my handy dandy little hemos here and I can just pull it on through. I keep these in the description box below. The curved ones work really well for this. And I mean, you need straight and curved. Everybody needs those in their toolbox. Pull it on there. Then we're going to pull it on out. Pop a fuel filter on. I usually like a fuel filter with a little bit of a smaller nipple on it. This one's going to work just fine. I'm just out of the regular ones that I use. And like I tell everybody, whenever you go to put a fuel filter on, take that fuel line out, give it a good stretch with your needle nose. It makes it much easier to get on your fuel filter or your nipples on your carburetor. Twist and stretch. Just like that. Make sure it's sitting all the way in the back corner of your tank. Now this other line, we're just going to barely stub it into the tank, and it's going to go to the top nipple closest to the primer bulb on the carburetor because that's just your return to your tank. Pop that carburetor on. Gasket is still good. And yes, this whole thing's gonna be cleaned up here in a minute. I'm gonna make y'all wait till the end for that one. I mean, some of y'all come here for it to be clean. Some of y'all want to actually see the repair. We got them all shined up for you guys, so let's see if this pole saw is going to run. Both of those ended up running amazing. Dwight, if you're watching this video, your equipment's ready to be picked up and it's free of charge. So guys, thanks again for tuning in to Chickanic. If you find yourself coming back over and over again, think about hitting that subscribe button. It helps out the algorithm to make my videos shown to more people to save them time, money, and frustration in the future. Now, if you like seeing me turn trash into treasure, don't worry, I got lots of those videos. Find one right here.